This student challenges Cliff, saying, "It's not fair for you to respond to my question with another question." Watch as the debate takes a turn.
There's plenty of examples of people who've shown, like, mathematical proofs, among other things, that morality is not tied strictly to God. It is possible to form a basis of moral absolutes without God.
No. It's impossible for a moral absolute to exist if there is no mind prior to the human mind. How do you mathematically prove a moral absolute?
You just assign a mathematical rule that effectively measures your impact on someone else and set a threshold.
Yeah.
So murder is taking away someone's entire existence, and so it's never okay for you to murder.
Baloney. If I want his money in order to benefit my wife and 3 boys, in order to get his money, I need to murder him. That is my choice, and I'm not wrong.
That's a straw man, because no, you don't have to murder him to get his money. But B, you're entirely taking away his existence for a marginal benefit to the existence of you and 3 others. So that's obviously not moral. And I don't need God to tell me that.
If he's an accidental collection of atoms, then there's nothing wrong with squashing his life.
That's not what atheists say at all.
I'm not saying what atheists said. That's not the question you asked. You asked me, if there is no God, is it possible for there to be a moral absolute? And I'm asking you, I actually said no. No, you said you're wrong, Cliff. Fine. Please explain to me how you get a moral absolute without God.
You're the one preaching. Explain to me why it isn't. I'm not preaching. I'm asking the questions, not you.
I can ask questions, can't I?
No, it's not fair for you to respond to my question with another question.
Oh, it's not fair.
That's a very, very well-established debate style that undermines the possibility of debate.
Oh, don't worry, I will answer your question. I already have begun to answer your question. But I totally disagree with you. It's totally legitimate for you to ask me questions. It's totally legitimate for me to ask you questions. Come on, guys, we're in a university here. We think, right?
Right, but it's not so much that you're asking me a question, more that you're asking me a question to avoid answering mine.
Oh, no, I don't avoid. I've been answering. I answered all day. All right. The Nazi lawyers were brilliant. The Nazi lawyers stood up and said, these Nazi soldiers gassed Jews into Dachau and Auschwitz because their commanding officer ordered them to, because their culture taught them to. For you allies to come in here and to condemn these Nazi soldiers for gassing Jews is so intolerant, it's so arrogant, it should be thrown out of court. And sir, the Nuremberg trials shut down until the American consul, Robert Jackson, stood up and said, there is a law above the law. And according to the law above the law, gassing Jews in Dachau and Auschwitz is absolutely evil. Robert Jackson's plea for a law above the law is a statement. Ultimately, the law does not depend upon culture, people in power, or my own opinion. Because if it does, it's totally relative.
Right.
And we have no basis for saying, as Americans, the Nazis were wrong. The only way there can be a law above the law is if there is some mind to create and define that law.